Graciela wants to do a little activity, action, performance intervention while we organize ourselves here. This is Graciela Ovejero Postigo, for those of you who were not at her performance.
You have some little flags you can make. This slide is my intervention of my own nationals. One of them. And so here are the pins, this is the glue, the sticks, and on the other side you can make your own intervention of your own sort of national symbol or any other invented one. And if you like it,
Your invented national symbol or your national symbol
yeah,
or
to be your national symbol.
flag.
This is part of a series called, well, this specifically, Neoliberal Air Kills Me, and it's part of a series called Babeliana Constructive Actions, where I do what I do. So this is one little thing I invite you to like what we set up.
Please come forward because that's really don't want to have a challenge and that this is your last night. Everyone, and welcome to I don't remember what the title of this talk is. But it's about international festivalization. We have two of our international artist organizers here. I think almost every one of us has been on both sides of the artist organizing. It's not a divide, it's a continuum between artist and organizer. So we're all on that spectrum at any one time, I think. But it's really, I think, a really great opportunity for all of us based here in Canada, or those of us who are based here in Canada, to hear about what's happening in Cameroon and what's happening in Argentina and how these sites are, operate similarly and differently to how we do. So I'll just kind of give you the biographies of our illustrious two guests. Graciela Ovejero Postigo, whose work you probably saw last Saturday at Geary Lane, comes to us from Buenos Aires. But she has a very poetic biography, so I'm going to read it. Her artwork departs from and moves through various in-betweens and peripheries. Northwest Argentina, Southwest California, performance, installation, photography, the moving image, and the relational. Conceived as an ongoing corporeal writing as a means for poetic reconfiguration of the given. She is founder-director of Paris de Olmo, Ars Continua, which she founded in 2011, a non-profit venue focusing on performance and time-based art forms in Buenos Aires, as an ongoing relational art project, collective archive construction, personal lab, and offering. And so Graciela will speak first and tell us about her experiences. And then we have here Serge, Olivier, Fokoua. Will you say it for me?
Fokoua.
Fokoua. Okay, I just hadn't heard you say it. Fokoua. Who your birth date is here, 1976, in Douala, Cameroon. He now lives and works between Cameroon and Gatineau, Quebec. And that's a piece that's missing in this biography. I want to hear about how you ended up in Gatineau. Working mainly in installation and performance, Serge's work has been presented in numerous art exhibitions, performance events, and projects in Cameroon, Nigeria, South Africa, Senegal, France, Germany, Japan, Poland, Canada, and Finland. He is a co-founding member of Les Palettes du Camer, an association of Cameroonian visual artists created in order to promote the local creation and congregation and initiate different kinds of activities to develop contemporary visual art practice in Cameroon. Founded in 2004, Les Palettes du Camer is a framework for research, analysis, exchange, sharing, dating, and valuation of all aspects of visual arts. It's a hub of African cultural values advocated by young artists motivated with an ardent desire for dialogue and international collaboration. They are open to the multiplicity of mediums and art expressions and are constantly looking for innovative actions and artworks, including new forms of languages. The main occupation now of Les Palettes du Camer, or their association, is actually the Rencontre d'Art Visuel in Yaoundé, also known as RAVI, R-A-V-Y, RAVI, and the RAVI Biennale, that is the key instrument on the implementation of their goals. Since 2008, Serge has been the director of Rencontre d'Art Visuel in Yaoundé, and the 5th edition, I think, occurred in July 2016. Yeah. So the challenge for Ravi 2016 was to bring something new that can go beyond their past achievements, because they have had biennales since the first in 2008. They have plans, or Serge has plans, to further highlight performance art, as it is a powerful medium that can engage social and or political practices. He's also a member of the International Network of Festivals, IC Zone, since 2006. So that's Serge and Graciela. So first we'll let you...
We can start.
You can start with your practice. And I'll have some time, we'll open it up for dialogue very quickly.
Yeah, we can make it conversational all along. This is the blog. The name of the space, Teras de Olmo, Ars Continua. It does have like a little play on a traditional saying about, olmos are elm trees. So in this case, it would be hairs from an elm, which is like, an impossibility. So there's this saying that in Spanish language, and the origin I think is Iberic, about not to ask for pears to the elms, right? So it does have to do with, rethinking of the notions of utopia as a necessary strategy for art production and the questioning and sort of reprogramming or recreation of identity as coming from, a culture of multiple cultural roots, and in some way, like compounded alternative. First, woman as an alter, as an other from norm, dominant notions of being, and then perhaps Latin American, which is a very complex generalization as well. So I grew up through dictatorship, and I guess I am, I belong to a generation that has been expelled, suffered persecutions. That's a very strong sort of legacy in terms of memory and the existential and emotional things that one has to deal with. I left Argentina right after the dictatorship, finished, like a year after or so. and I want to live in California. I went to California and then I decided to stay, and then I lived there for many years, 20-something more years. And that going out it's something that is in the imaginary of most or many Latin American artists as colonial subjects, subjectivities, traversed by colonial conditions, in the sense that there's this notion of some aspects of ancestry in other places, and then of course in general is the centrality of Europe, is that what we know. So it's like we have to think. When we think of ourselves, it's a very complex thing. We have to think of ourselves as so the notion of country or the collective belonging. It's one of those like sort of general frames. If you can think of that as a container or expression body or whatever. And then there's the notion of the continent as well, that all of the countries throughout Latin America share similar issues in terms of their relationship to Europe and the sort of ways into which their societies and cultures have shaped the elites that are mostly white elites economically and culturally, and identified with Eurocentrism. So it's like, for artists and intellectuals, it's like everything has to be questioned, everything needs to be rethought, just in terms of your own selves. When you sort of, and if you grew up through dictatorships, where you have a sense that being young is dangerous, and then there is this very complex relationship with the idea of the world. What world am I living in? What I'm supposed to do and what's expected, what can I do, and who I am. So the idea of utopia, it's a need. It's very important for the so-called subalterns, bodies, identities, and in the sense of because the need is to imagine a place where your being is not denied, and where you can actually review what you got, and for sure you have to do some work of transformation. We all, because you look at the world. So anyway, so the revolutionary generation, those notions there, the sort of diasporized generation also, and my country is like from the 70s, throughout Latin America, from early 70s to up to kind of like into the 90s. And then it's like we have these cycles of terrible economic crisis in which, like, it seems like every decade, there is this, people want to leave again, or they feel expelled for economic reasons or some other cultural aspects. And depending where you're located, we're talking about the notion of Latin America, because we do have, and we have been thinking about this notion as a region, like Europe as well. And for the need to also finally sort of counteract and undo some of the maladies of colonialism and colonial situations in which capitalism has this extractive relationship, and capitalism and modernity started with colonialism. So, we also have to rethink of. So we inherit the whole idea of the Western world and civilization and thought, and but our philosophers had to research and undo some of the notions, and so there's a lot of thought now on growing decolonial thinking, in which also Europe really needs to review its own notions of centrality, how that centrality has been formed, because it wasn't there always. Really sort of started with the conquering of the New World, those new lands that gave all the richness, the economic power for it to establish their own empires. So all of that, and this, migrations at a personal level in that way, as misplacement, important notion. And so this issue of that, it was an issue, like a problem of people of my generation since being adolescents, really. Something that's not happening perhaps necessarily today. Today is a different thing, it's globalized, and a lot of things are taken for granted, and actually there's a lot of surface. We've gone through a whole big brainwash thing through this globalization of commercial culture, and local cultures being threatened or taken by the commercial culture. But at the same time, little things happens in the cracks all the time, and that's important, and it's important to connect those cracks with those cracks. So there's the notion of that. So Peros de Ars Continua is one of those cracks. So that's one of the ideas to create this. So the space when, after living many years in the US, at some point deciding to just feeling sort of the curve of life, and then you return, right? So the curve takes you back. And that's when I was born in the northwest of Argentina, in a city called Tucumán, which the oldest part of the sort of what later on will become Argentina, or part of this the crash and counter and conflict with European culture occur in that region in the northwest, because Spanish people enter through Lima, through the viceroyalty of Lima that was first established, through the mountains and into the northwest of Argentina. So all the cities are there, and it's a very different culture. Then later on, Buenos Aires becomes sort of centralized, and then it's like this big head, because sort of industrial, whatever it became industrialized, is around there. Do we have water around here?
Yeah, can we get some water?
And then, so it's like this big head that forgets the body. But, So I decided to do in Buenos Aires, which is like the big head, because it was just, for once, it was easier to say you just landed in one airport and then you just went home. And also because the territory in the Northwest continues to be so terribly conflicted. And things seem so a lot more difficult, like to connect, because we have this need to connect stuff, because everything's being fragmented. That's how power is established itself. Cuts you in pieces, then you gotta find the pieces. So it's Buenos Aires, and then that's in 2011. Let's see, that's the blog. I do everything, right? So it's like blog in the simplest way. So it's not too much variation. Also, flash things, don't get much. But anyways, here we have a little bit, unfortunately, most of the content is Spanish because it would take me the whole life to do it in Spanish and then do it in English. So only just the beginning, like a space for production, display, and exchanges in contemporary art, time and presence-based artistic practices, permanent curatorial series. So there are several sort of series. Then down there it says, here he mentions the series. But so I opened in 2011. The notion of peras de olmo, ars continuous Latin, so, it's one of the roots. And of course, peras de olmo, Iberic, family, part of family coming from Andalusia. And then I need to learn Quechua, or I don't know what would be. My mother has an ancestor, grandfather from one of the nations in Córdoba, in the middle of the land. But their language is almost lost, although I think there are people that are trying to recover that. That stuff is going on, and it's amazing. Because epistemicide is something that we deal with, or that that is part of the. So all of our notions of the world have to be rethought. And I mean, I use
say
epistemicide.
Okay.
Yes, epistemicide. Yeah. So there's a wonderful philosopher. He's Argentinian. His name is Enrique Dussel. If you can search for him, and I'm sure he has some lectures in English. He travels all over the world now. Still, his notion that it's somewhat like marginal, whatever, but it's really, he's not the only one. There are several. There's a Portuguese also thinker, Boaventura, because Portugal and Spain were also south. It's also south. It was the dominance of Northern Europe, northern of the Americas. Boaventura de Sousa Santos, undoing these notions of the Western civilization, which actually didn't start in Greece, it started in Africa. Egypt and before them all by like this notion of like the first university in Bologna, wrong. So epistemicide relates to that, imposing a sense of the world that has shifted things around, and in order to appropriate the goods, basically, just to subtract. So, anyways, all those complex things. But so the series that so far that have been happening is kind of like, so first I decided to focus on performance art, and that's because all things that we have been talking about, and like Johanna just mentioned, we do everything. There is this the performance art practice within contemporary art is a culture. As a culture, has these important values which the rest of contemporary art is not. It's just waiting for the Galerie and the La Biennale, the big moment. And so we are artists that we generate fields, we create fields, we collaborate, we have these values of solidarity and collaboration, and we do things with nothing. If there's nothing, we still do things. So that's sort of the idea. And really, I don't get fundings. There's a funding federal institution from which I have gotten at some point in another moment for other curatorial project that I did help, and I did some things, blah blah. In this case was a show with artists, women artists, but it was about the feminine, so there were some men and transgender women, but so then I got some. But that project I did it just to see how the institutions were working in Argentina, and it's fragmented. They don't link. I took that literally the show in my suitcases, and established, when it displays, it's like a big show. In 4 different museums, starting from Tucumán, so it was important to start not in Buenos Aires, Tucumán, then Salta. It has a contemporary art museum. Then Rosario, which is a city near Buenos Aires that has, but in the province of Santa Fe, that has the first contemporary art museum. And then later on in Buenos Aires. And, I could see how they couldn't connect, like, to make one catalog amongst the effort, with the efforts and the fundings of everyone. That was extremely difficult. It was impossible. It just the last venue did the color catalog, and I printed the artist text, because to me it's very important. And in this project also, the idea is that this is sort of an extension, and there's no differentiation between like art making and doing this in a sense. Artists, I encourage the writing. Very important to have the artist's voices written when, so that's something in a procedure I have when I invite artists. That's one of the things I ask them to do. And so in this case, I had to do the book separately, black and white, and there's 2 little volumes, whatever. But what I noticed then in that exchange with only one place that could give funds for projects and venues, the people that were managing, and many of them are still there, or were still there up to like recently, because we had a change of government last December. Well, I don't know. I think they didn't like it or something, but because I could see how, they give funds to more like other friends or other groups of artists that are around them all the time. I don't know, but that's just in general, like to say that things we know take place in institutions when funds are going to be distributed. They are managed by other artists, but everyone is out to create, like when there's money there, it sort of creates a little feudal little thing, it becomes this little thing, of power. Anyway, so I didn't feel very welcome. And
feudal, did you say?
Feudal, yeah, feudalism is creating your own like sort of clientelism or something. And so after that I said, forget it. I'm not gonna ask them for money, and maybe build up some history, and later on perhaps research on some other fundings outside, whatever. But for that also I need help. I need like people to be able to work with me. And it's been difficult to ask people to do that because a lot of young people are looking for work, but they need to be paid. They need money. I understand totally, so it's really difficult. Now I'm being close to like some other artists that are professors in one of the universities, which used to be like an institute of the arts and now it's a university similar to Ohio, I think, in a way. They just held a festival here, which is this one, Arte al Fugo, third international festival of live art. They did it in space. Let's see here, there's something. There's an album here, just sorry, it's gonna go to face, but it doesn't want. Oh, I have to put the Wi-Fi.
Maybe let's pause here.
Yeah.
Because this is you've given us an incredible background that I think is relevant to both
Okay.
Africa and South America in relationship to the colonial project and how in some way, you've been able to connect that history and legacy and its impact on the contemporary. And so I think that's...
Yeah, so I'm totally marginal. I'm totally outside in terms of like the contemporary art system. Like every year there is the Arteva, it's like a big fair. Which is like the biggest like contemporary art event that takes place because we don't have a biennale in Buenos Aires, in Argentina.
Right.
Sao Paulo is like our biennale, continuity speaking. And so Arteva every year, but it's totally commercial. You see good art, well, depending, but performance is not there, but they're starting to include, and actually since we just touched on that thing, there has been on 2015 last year first performance art biennale in Buenos Aires. So it's supposed to repeat next year. We'll see what happens. But it will start from a corner of the contemporary art circles, because now I learned there are like several like circles of power. That is mostly coming from like the fields of combined arts and more closer to theater and performing arts in general. And also they wanted to establish themselves as this is what it is. And so they invited like stars, Marina Abramovic.
I want to follow up on that.
I'm going everywhere, I know.
After, let's have Serge introduce his context and then, we can return to the more immediate, or recent events and that. So
meanwhile, maybe I need to do the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, you can go into the Wi-Fi up there. Somebody got the password. Slip it to
which
Graciela.
One would be?
What is it?
I think it's wireless for free. Yeah.
Okay, but which one of this list?
Theater center.
Oh, theater center, right. Do I see it?
It's at the bottom.
Oh, there. I see. Oops. And you said?
Wireless.
Wireless?
WIRE. LESS.
Yeah.
4, the number 4.
Yeah.
Free.
Oh, free. Sounds good. Good. Okay, well, how to then we can navigate if we need to. Oops.
And then Wi-Fi for free.
Oh, okay. So.
Show password
This is your,
so you can see the letters.
This is your hard drive.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so maybe Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Video, okay.
Wi-Fi for free, makes sense.
That's a video, montage view one, that's a video. Is this a video?
No.
What's it called?
Oh, and we need to connect here for the projection.
Ravi 2014, Ravi. Sorry? Okay, where is the video? Talk amongst yourselves. Or Graciela, I cut you off. Thank you.
So let us the almost. Is there a physical space?
Yes, there's a physical space, and here, floor plan. I can, I can actually show you. Let me see. Okay, here. This was an article that came on a Cuban magazine. No one in Buenos Aires has written about any of the things. It's been 5 years, except for some like independent young writers just recently, and some interview like magazines that are online, you know. But this is a magazine from Cuba called Arte por Excelencia, and they made a wonderful article. This is here you see. Maybe some of you know Carlos Martiel. That's Carlos Martiel.
So we start with this.
And Gustavo Solar from Chile. Carlos is Cuban. And his name, I think it's Chan, or Alejandro Ruiz Chan is the writer, and that was the cover. This is another picture. That's the article. And then I think the title was something about utopia, but I don't know if it appears there or somewhere. So we show this quickly. So those are some pictures of artists. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm just a little bit lost here. We were finding
there.
Serge's video. So I'm gonna
yank you.
Excuse me.
There are some other images where you can see the space a bit more.
Okay.
Hello, so I am Serge Olivier Fokoua, performance and visual artist from Cameroon. My English is very poor, but I will manage to see what is going on in Cameroon concerning the performance art. So I am the director of the festival Ravi Festival. That is a platform, a journal of visual art and performance art. We don't have only performance. We have painting, sculpture, media art, installation that are shown in the festival. So the origin of the project, I traveled in France in 2006, invited to participate to a festival there. It was in Bourgogne. The festival Été des Arts en Soie-Morvan. So during that festival, I met many artists who were at the same time managers of projects in their different countries. So they were working like a network. So, and for them, when they saw me, it was something quite strange for them, because they told me that usually in the environment of contemporary art, African is not often included. So it is not easy for them to collaborate with contemporary artists coming from Africa. So now, at that time, an idea came out. It was like we can create something together, like a project of collaboration. So during the project, I made a talk like this one, presenting what was going on, in our local context. And when I went back to my country, Cameroon, I created a collective with my colleagues, a collective called Palais du Camé, a collective of contemporary artists. And with the help of our partner in Europe, we started to build a project of a local festival in Cameroon. That's how the project came out. In 2008, we made the first edition of Ravi Festival, and we invite one artist from Canada and two from Japan, two from France, and the rest was local artists. So it was the first step of our project, and we got the support from the local Ministry of Culture. So step by step, we built the project, and now we just made our 5th edition last July. So far, the festival has received about 55 artists from different corners of the world who came to Cameroon to present their artwork in different medium of visual art or performance. But what I can say is that in the festival, the performance art occupy like 17% of what is happening there. Maybe because I am personally a performance artist, but I am really connected to the network, the general panorama of what is happening on performance. So the objective of the project, the goals, we are interested to promote the creativity. That is one of our goal, to promote the creativity, because Cameroon is really rich by the creativity from artists, because I found many good artists doing a really great jobs, but we are in a context really difficult because of maybe the social, political reality. It's not easy at all for the artists, for the local artists, to develop what they are doing, because there is a crucial lack of possibility of diffusion. You see, there is no institution, almost no institution. We have only one art school there in the whole country, so the context is really difficult. So for us, it was like the Ravi Festival. It was like an opportunity to bring out what is going like underground. It was really a showcase for us to give a possibility to the local artists to encounter different artists from different backgrounds, because one of our specificity is the encounter. That's why the name rencontre, because Ravi in French is rencontre d'art visuel. So one of our main focus is the rencontre, the encounters between the professionals, because it's not only like people are going to send your artwork, or like you see, for us we need to bring people physically to be together somewhere, discussing, sharing what they are doing. So that was our one of our focus, and I already said it, developing the network of you see, because we are like a platform, and we want to connect ourselves with different platforms to exchange, to develop things, to create, because we are really interested by the cultural, the diversity, the cultural diversity, the cultural exchanges. So that That's the thing. So I am going to present some works that have been made in Cameroon during the last edition that took place last July. I chose 6 artists making performance art. For example, Snake is one of the young artists really engaged in Cameroon politically because Cameroon is officially a democratic country, but it seems to be a fake democracy because you have the same president on the power since I don't know, since 35 years, the same president. So the local situation in Cameroon for the population, a lot of poverty, a lot of corruption, you see. And he made this performance, it is politically engaged because he said the sacrifice, it's like a youth, the youth generation of Cameroon is sacrificed. So that's why he made this performance in the public space with a huge audience because he was Kennedy Avenue, who is the marketplace and it's a huge population. So it was really a challenge to make a performance there because it's not easy at all to occupy this place. This is Snake, and at the end he made a crucifix and it was hung there with the map of Cameroon on the top. It is the same guy during the beginning of the performance. And the other one is, I want to present is Graciela, who is one of the local most constant performance artists. He's working mostly on the ritual. You see, the ritual is something really, as can say, correct. Just say it's in our cultural practice because we can see ritual everywhere in Cameroon, in the villages, all kind of, because we have many kind of different ethnic and with different kind of practice of living of. So he's working most on ritual and religion because he's talking about the conflict between our local tradition and the import religion. So it's most of his topic of work, Christian Tonga. And during his performance, he started in front of the church and he moved on the street with a knee down and moving along the street. And after he buried his head with the soil. Jelili Atiku is a Nigerian artist. He was also present during the last edition of our festival. He's also one of the most engaged artists in Africa in the environment of performance art. So he's also in the ritual, but he's more on the traditional aspect of the thing. And he made the performance with these branches and roots of trees in the public space, in the very busy place of traffic. We also invite Japanese artist Yuri Ido, who works on video associated with the movement of the body, and it is quite poetic to watch what he's doing. We invite also Richard Martel from Quebec, who made a project with with sound on the foot, making noise with a microphone on the foot. It was really poetic. We invite also Mathieu Carvalho from Germany, who is working on the memory, and the project he made was about the history, and he used many sculptures he got locally, and he invited grandmothers. You you can see they are grandmothers because he's worked about grandmother like a figure of history, and he invited 3 Cameroonian grandmothers to be part of his performance. But to end my presentation, I would like to show some pieces of video of the 2014 edition, and it will be like for us a way to alimentate how we can conversate about the work we are doing in Cameroon. The festival is also, I didn't tell you about, but the festival is also an occasion of symposium. So we invite the different specialists, like curators, like art critic, like cultural entrepreneur to come around the table, be together around the table, talking about the challenges, the challenges that's existing around the performance, and also the contextualization of the performance, because Cameroonian or African are not really interested to do performance like it is done from abroad, but they want to do performance like they feel according to the local reality. So,
Do you remove the sound or something?
no.
It's okay.
Go to preferences and switch it.
Yeah, you're talking.
I don't really need a song. I'm just going to show the images.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, okay.
So this one is this guy is Trésor Malaya from Congo. Why I want to show this, because usually in Cameroon during the festival, artists they kill a live animal, and for the artists coming from abroad and anyone coming from abroad, when they watched it, for them it's quite strange. It's like a shock when they see killing an animal and a live animal during a performance. It's a shock, but for the local artists, it's something totally normal, because in our context, when you want to eat an animal like goat, cow, chicken, or whatever, you go and buy it alive in the market and you kill it by yourself. You see, and there are also a lot of ceremony that are made with the sacrifice of animal. You see, so that's why for the local artists, usually it is part of what they are doing. You see, but for me, it was like an experience to bring this with the presence of artists coming abroad. The point of view was totally different about this. So he made this performance by killing Trésor, by killing one goat, and he removed everything from the body part of animals, and he put it on his body, and he stand on the streets. So this is one of the reality, the image of the way artists are engaged.
Which flag is that?
He used many flags. The one past was the one of Congo, and this one is the one of Ivory Coast. And I guess he also showed the one of Germany. This is the one, yes. So,
The first one.
yeah, the first one. So,
Serge, did you say that the local artists are not necessary, that there is this focus on locality and that local artists are not necessarily looking forward to travel abroad, that it is important for the work and the context? Did you say something like, I don't know?
no, they are interested to travel abroad,
Yeah.
but they don't want to do art like it is done abroad, like
Sure.
in the Western
Yeah,
culture.
of course, yeah.
You see, they want to do it like they feel.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, according to the.
Yeah.
So this is another artist who made a performance, but during this edition, two artists, they made a fire during a performance, and I am talking about this because as the curator of the projects, it's one of the problem we are facing regularly, because the two artists who made fire during this edition, they didn't tell me before that they are going to make fire. Yes, when they showed me the project, there was no trace of fire they are going to do. So I just faced it like this during the live, and it was like in case of you never know what is going to happen. So this is one of the problem we are facing, and this is the collective, a group who made we see is fire appearing also here. So but they didn't tell me that there will be fire. So this is one of the realities, that there is always a lot of improvisation that can suscitate like a risk or a danger for maybe for the venue, for the audience and whatever. So what I can say, it's like it's not easy to manage this kind of projects.
Do you have a problem with the authorities, or they let you do?
No, we don't have problem because we didn't go through the walls.
They didn't know.
You see, and they always know. But in the venue, we can do it without in the public space, we absolutely need authorization. Otherwise, it's impossible to do anything concerning performance art in the public space. So I have another one, another piece to show. The last one.
Je pense que c'est une forte histoire qui est en train de s'écrire entre notre festival et l'Institut Goethe. Et nous pensons que dans les prochaines années, le meilleur est à venir.
So the last piece I want to show is the performance on the streets, on one of the main streets in Yaoundé. A performance made by Christian Etongo, who was laid on the street like somebody who dead. And the population was You know, performance art is something really new on Cameroon. So the population is not yet they are not yet familiar with this kind of art. You see, when they see artists making a performance like this on the street, for them they directly associate this to madness. For them, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to assume that this is art. So there is always a lot of question going on around. You see, this is Julie DK from Congo, who rock her body with the engine oil, and she move around the street with the body like that. For her, it's like a discourse about pollution. You know, in Africa generally, a lot of cars are very old, very old, and people they continue to use the very old car, and it constitutes a pollution of our environment because the quality of I don't know how to say it. It's really bad, and it's like we are doing something and we are not aware of the consequences of that. It's kind of what she is doing, but yes, but I forgot to present something here. So it's interesting also. This is Valentin Torrens from Spain, who made this performance in front of a bank, like this, with the ball, with the football ball, the soccer ball on the knee. And for the population, you know, Cameroon is football in Cameroon is like the symbol of national unity. And when they saw these guys, like a white man, making this performance with the ballon on the knee, they didn't understand what was going on. It was like it is a mocking fashion of he's not respecting the football. That is something important in our heart, because he pressed the ballon, and it was during the period that Cameroon was very low in football, and he was like you see, and they come and they attack him, they aggress him, and the performance didn't go through the end. So it is one of the things you can see. So I can stop here.
What was his intention? What was Valentin's intention to do?
Valentin's intention wasn't it was to encourage them also, to say that football can be the symbol of unity. But they didn't understand it, they understand something different. And he made the performance in front of a bank also. So we were facing two oppositions, the opposition of the population and the opposition of the guards of the bank also. So it was a lot of fight.
So I have just one question for you, and then I think I will open it to everyone. And it really has to do with this relationship between the local voice and the international voice, as you termed it, Graciela, the maladies of colonialism, the imperial project of exporting contemporary art in general, exporting contemporary art, Eurocentric and North America-centric contemporary art to outside of, to the rest of the world. And that performance art has not necessarily been entirely innocent in this project, but at the same time, there is this utopian wish to create an alternative network. In Canada, we often refer to as the eternal network, which was conceptualized by Ovejero. So the idea that we might establish a different kind of network, and how to balance that imperial project with the networking project, and the colonial voice with this talk about, with the emerging local voice through the form of performance. So I'm really interested in how that, you've described that a bit in terms of the artistic practice with those clashes.
In terms of the practice, how it shows in like an artist's work and stuff. Yeah, well, there's a big, there is a variety. I don't know, maybe we can connect, maybe.
Oh, sure. And I guess what I'm asking is the devices that you have, both of you are very involved in this project of the emergent, or
the
established, in some cases, local voice that simply is not visible on an international stage. What do you see as your next move?
Well, it's happening. It's happening all the time. I mean, for instance, in Argentina, performance art has a history almost parallel to what was happening in Europe and US, like from the 60s. Strongly conceptual and quickly developed, because it was the 60s and everything, into political experiment. Like, for instance, one of the very important projects, and very unique, and like in terms of political art in that field, and a very new field of combining and working with technology and information, was this project called Tucumán Arde, which didn't happen in Tucumán, but Tucumán was the example of what was going to happen to the whole country, because it was like the poorest, most like conflicted social, and with a lot of unemployment, because it went from that was one of the moments of the start of neoliberalism, where like the sugar industry, because the one is subtropical, they closed all of the production places and try to shift into this neoliberal projects of the economy that the dictatorships were trying to implement, and they did. And then when democracy came later on, with a lot of human cost. But let's see. So for instance, really, in that sense, it's sort of parallel. These are some images of the space that appeared in this article that we focus on. That this is like a general. I have the structure for the posters for the series Open Field, Campo Abierto, Laboratory of Action, and. Sorry. It's Georgian. The artist Utebekaya, he lives in New York, but he's from Georgia. Georgia is in the ex-USSR. We collaborated. One idea. He's basically a garment designer, but he thinks of garments in terms of the body, the performative body, and the performative aspect of garments as well. In this case, I don't have any other images of other. That's another. It seems like I'm in all of them, but it's not true. It's just those two. Okay, so we have done like 30. I think of this as a book. So the volumes you see is the year 2013, volume 10. Each of the events, the performance art events of this series, this curatorial series, Open Field, Campo Abierto, Laboratory of Action, I think of it as a book and as a collection. You know, the archive, it becomes like this volume, the archive, and documenting the works is very important. That's Aidana, and that was one workshop that she did. Some of you know Aidana.
She was here in the last festival.
Yes, she was in the last festival. Well, we have done this also. We have done like workshops on how to make compost and things, little things that happens. This was a projection of another series. Is this XXX something like Cine with X, Cine expanded film, video, documentary, which we have shown a few things, but still I need like a partner there to move some things. That was particularly a curatorial project from an artist from Texas, and these were no, not that one, the first one. Okay, it's 180%. Yeah. Anyways, I want to get out of here.
Artists from Africa and
No, not yet.
Buenos Aires? Not yet.
Yeah. The issue always is the funding. How do you get this? So if anybody gets to Buenos Aires, contact me, and we make something. Okay, here, take your card, take the cards and stuff, and give it to anybody. Yeah, there is a room in the house where I'm trying to see if I can start here. Okay, here we're going to see a little bit more. This is a blog. I don't have a site with all of my work perfectly organized or anything, none of that. This is an interview that a magazine did of me and asking about the space, and so I had the luxury to write because it was through email, so it became very long, and they placed a big portion of the interview and then a link to my blog. So I populated with images in here because it's a little bit of the space. That's the downstairs, which is it's for the house is an old house, and so the downstairs and there is a garden in the back. That's also that's what we have. We do the things, and we have the kitchen also in the front, And there's rooms are upstairs, and a room for residency.
We're all
This was the first. Some of these images are for the inaugural event show. This was an interesting piece curated by Paula Borgi. She's a young curator from Brazil, who was in residency at the house at that moment, and she curated a series of videos asking visual artists to produce a video that have never done video, to produce a video. So they totally went into the performative, of course. It was really fascinating. That was another project that was they always had like these projects were from the first show. There were like 4 projects. They all had a performative aspect, and then following that I started with the series Open Field that's dedicated specifically to performance. Then there's another series I started just recently a year ago called Sonoraje. This is like a mixture of paisaje and sound, sound. Sonoraje. It's for it's improvisational. It's improvisation art, sound art, and there I have a help. I work with a guy that is totally in the field. So he invites artists, and for 2 hours we have live projections that happen on the spot by different artists that are invited to do that in sound. That's created, right? It's improvisation. We call it the imperio, impro imperio. So it's improvisation.
So it really is ars continua.
It is ars continua. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Really happy. This is another area where that was an exhibition that's part of the inaugural show, and that was a curatorial project I did with artists from Fokoua in the Northwest. In this case, this project was called La Santería Dadaísta, Dadaist Santería, and the Army of the North, because there's this notion of the Army of the North as being very important in the wars of independence, which was composed by just regular people, women and everyone. Okay.
Okay.
That's a little bit of the garden.
I want to open the floor to questions from you for Serge or for Graciela in relationship to these two very different spaces and projects, but on that central glue of performance, which seems to actually enable that very direct speech, political speech in many cases.
So go ahead.
Joseph?
Graciela, you mentioned you had a trans artist in one of your projects.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, I'm curious, a question for both of you, how the queer voice or fluid gender identity, how in your regions, how possible is it for these people to express themselves?
Yeah. Well, Argentina, we have the law which is most advanced for gender recognition and family formation. So, there's not too long ago, 2 women and a man have recognized, a couple of women and they have a child that the man is father, but he also has another child with a woman, but they have been recognized as a group, as a family group, and the boy has all of their names and things like that. So in transgender as well, but it doesn't mean that. Still today there's a lot of violence, especially feminine, bodies like trans women and women in general. It's a very, very, very tremendous violence.
Serge?
Yes, in our local context, the law, there is no problem with the law. We are okay to do everything. The artists feel free to do it, but it is the problem is the point of view of the audience who don't know what it's all about, because for them it's absurd to do this. You see, for them it is really hard to put in your head, in your mind, that this is art. That's the big what we are dealing with. It's it's like we are like the pioneer, you can say pioneer of something. Yes, and we are trying to do also something pedagogic, like we are also like a school for our environment, because what we are doing, because in the first edition, from the first edition to the recent one, things has really changed concerning the point of view of the audience about what is going on, because now for the first time they didn't know what it's really about, but now most of them are getting familiar with this, and when they come they know that we are going to watch performance, you see. So this is one of our satisfaction that we have tried to include in our context the knowledge, more knowledge about this and this. But what I can say is that we are doing that, but the politics, because we have a Ministry of Culture, who is supposed to be like our, you see, our shepherd, our connection, yes, our connection to the official. But the local Ministry of Culture, they don't care at all about what is performance. They don't care at all. They can give money to theater, they can give money to music, they can give money to dance, but performance, they don't care. For them, it's like, what is that? We don't need that, you see. So it's really a challenge for us we are not interested to get like to grow, but we want to exist first. The first challenge is to exist, because we are fighting to exist now, and later we'll see if we can get it.
Was the 2016 edition stronger than the 2014?
Always,
Yeah?
always we are getting step by step more.
And a little bit more
Yeah.
recognition and support?
No support from the government.
No.
We have all our support from abroad, like
Right.
institution. We have the
Goethe
institute,
Institute.
yes, the Goethe Institute, who is our main partner, is the German. You see, it's from the German, and they has like a base in Cameroon, and they are really engaged to support us on what we are doing. Yes.
So, the local artists that you showed us, Jolie Lee is the only one I was familiar with, but the other artists who came from Congo, Julie Dupuy and so forth, how did they come to performance? How did you come to performance, and how do you assemble for the Biennale?
Yeah, there is no open call for our festival. We are working like a platform collaborating with different networks, you see. So we have a team of curators that decide to choose this artist or that artist, depending of what he is doing and what we are focusing as the line or the subject for the project, you see. So usually we are in touch with a lot of artists. We are always connected with what is going on globally to be able to build a curatorial proposition always, you see. So Julie Decay, we know her for a long time, and sometimes it's a connection of the connection of the connections.
And she got, you were able to bring her to pay for the...
The Goethe Institute always pay.
Okay.
The Goethe Institute is the one who always pay for the participation of local African artists coming to Cameroon.
Okay.
So the mission of the Goethe Institute is to support African artists coming to Cameroon and German artists coming to Cameroon. That maybe it's one of the reasons that we always have German artists. Yes.
And final question, how did you end up in Gatineau?
In Gatineau, but I came in Canada for the first time. It was in 2011, invited by the Centre Victoriaville and Le Lieu in Quebec City. So they invited me in 2011, and it was already a long time. Me and my wife were like, we want to change a bit and go and live somewhere else. And we have traveled a lot, because my wife is also a performance artist. So we have traveled a lot. We have made so many projects together in different parts of the world. And when we arrived in Canada in 2011, we said, wow, we have to stay here. And that's how we started to build our documents to migrate. But one of the reasons to migrate was the situation of Cameroon. That is like that is like a context, a hard context to do what you are interested in. So for me, I told my colleague of the team that I am moving abroad, not to leave what we are doing, but to try to get more possibility to do it. It's like I am going to find something to bring it home. You see, so it was like be there and be home at the same time. That's why in my biography we see like living in Canada and Cameroon. Yeah.
Same as you, Johanna.
I'm stuck here.
No, I just wanted to say that just thinking that that's sort of same notion of like connecting and redistributing, whatever. The fact that I lived in the US for so many years allowed me to have some capital that I could invest and buy the house in Buenos Aires and do that project. So,
Any last questions? Burning questions? Serge, of course, is going to perform on Thursday, and will be here for the rest of well, he's leaving Friday morning. So if you want to speak with him, you have to do it quick.